Okay, I think we're up and running. Is anyone listening? I hope so. Today, I'm gonna take a woke test to figure out if I'm woke. I'm doing a little bit of a screen record moment. A lot of different moving parts: audio on phone, screen record on computer, and recording on camera. I'm like, don't know. I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so remember when I was talking about that whole screen record thing? Well, I'm editing the video now, and it turns out that my computer could not save the screen recording because it was too long. So there's no screen recording for this video. Should I kill myself? Comment down below. If you don't know what woke is, they have a definition for you. Woke is a slang term that refers to one of the most prominent social movements in contemporary society. Its proponents see themselves as actively involved in the fight against social injustice and discrimination, while non-woke people tend to see them as hysterical and misguided. Are you woke? For each of the following statements, indicate how much it resonates with you below. All right. The first question is, or statement is, hierarchies are necessary to maintain order and prevent anarchy. I don't really know what they mean by hierarchy here. Is it just like somebody has a position of authority or responsibility over another person? I think that hierarchy in that sense, like maybe putting some people in managerial positions and some people in non-managerial positions might be helpful for efficiency. But I guess maintain order and prevent anarchy. I don't know what they mean by hierarchy. I'm gonna put somewhat agree. Like, I think for a state to function, it needs to have some people holding positions of authority over others. But I don't think that it needs to happen to the extent that we have now. I'm a big proponent of like local government, local governance. So, but I do feel like I can't listen. Or I guess it depends on like, also in what context. Like a hierarchy is necessary for a nation, a state to function, but maybe a community doesn't need to have a hierarchy. So I don't know. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say somewhat agree. Or should I go neutral on this? I'm gonna go neutral on this because I don't know. Like, there's too many unknowns here. All right. I champion those who are pushed to the margins so that they may have an equal place at the table. I do my best. Lax immigration controls undermine our nation's national security and put a strain on our resources. Whoa, okay. This is not a normative claim, it's a positive claim. So I would need to do research to figure out whether or not this is actually true. I could see the argument for this. I don't know about national security or strain. I don't think immigration controls is really contributing to national security or insecurity. But a strain on resources, I feel like that could be true. But we don't even have lax immigration controls in this country. I don't know. This one is like, I could see this being true, but I actually just don't have the research. I'm gonna go neutral on this one too. I don't have the knowledge to know whether or not this is true, but I would imagine it would be true in the case of the resources, maybe not so much the national security. All right, 4. If you let unproductive people think they're special, you're giving them an incentive to not improve. So many questions about this. What is an unproductive person? And what does it mean for them to think that they're special? That they're unique? I disagree with this. I don't really understand what it means. But to tell someone they're special doesn't mean that they're not gonna want to change. I'm gonna put strongly disagree. Using brain imaging or genomic sequencing to legitimize race or gender stereotypes can never be scientifically justified. I don't think it's scientifically possible. I don't think that race or gender stereotypes have a basis in like biology. So like agree, but also like I don't even know if it's possible. I believe that other cultures and minorities have ways of looking at physics and mathematics that are just as valid as the Western way. I don't I don't know how. I mean, I'd imagine, yeah, probably. Well, sorry, guys, that was gross. I don't know enough about how other cultures look at math and physics. So I'm gonna put neutral on this one. I have not. I have considered not having children out of concern for the climate. I've considered not having children out of concern for them. Like, would I be a bad parent? Is it ethical to bring a child into this world, in this fucked up world? I don't. Especially one that's gonna be black because I'm black. Do I even want kids? But I have to say I haven't considered not having kids because of the climate. I guess I've considered not having kids because the climate is gonna suck in the future, and that might be a terrible like environment to grow up in. But like, I'm gonna put somewhat disagree because I've never really thought about the climate. It's more about the children themselves. In general, all indigenous ways of knowing are marred by subjectivity and bias, lacking objectivity and evidence. Girl, what? This is a crazy claim. This is an attack. I don't know anything about indigenous ways of knowing, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I would imagine not though. But I wouldn't know. There are only two genders. That's not true. Or maybe we've only created two, but inherently no. In this day and age, patriarchy is largely a myth. No. Not a day goes by without me thinking about how I can fight for a more just and equitable society. I'm not. I mean, yes, but like not in this noble way where I'm like, I'm looking for. I just think a lot about the problems of society and how much I hate it as a person. As a gay black boy, I like hate sometimes being alive and living in this society, and so I think about that, and I think about I'm really interested in like utopian policy, so I think about like I think about how my life can be better, but it's not in this like how I can fight, like pick up my sword and like destroy racism. I'm not thinking like that. Someone put somewhat agree. People of color are oppressed by white beauty standards in our society. Yes. Since women comprise half of the world's population, it is only natural that women should possess half of the world's wealth. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Pointing out that other cultures don't have gay or trans rights is just another way of perpetuating the oppressive status quo. I don't really understand what this one means. What does this mean? I don't really understand. I'm gonna just put neutral on that one. I don't understand how being like, that country doesn't have gay rights is perpetuating it. I mean, there's nuance obviously to be considered when you're talking about a country and its like treatment of queerness, but I don't know. This doesn't make sense to me. I believe that unless something is done, the climate crisis could be out of control in 5 years. Girl, I have some bad news. It actually is already out of control. Climate change and white supremacy are two sides of the same coin. I think so, but I'm not gonna put fully strongly agree just because I don't know exactly the link between the two. But they're definitely related. In a conflict, one should always amplify the voices of the marginalized so that they have equal representation. I agree. I guess I should specify when I put somewhat there instead of fully. I mean, I think that you should be listening to the marginalized, but we're not always right. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about this girl I knew in high school who was, well, a black woman who was had a lot of prejudices inside her, harbored a lot of prejudice sentiments towards a lot of different groups. And so I would have to say that I don't think people should be listening to her. But I think on the whole, the marginalized have so much to say, and they aren't listened to because of the representation that they don't have in places like Congress, in the media, whatever. So, but I wouldn't say always. I mean, we should amplify. I guess we should amplify them. Well, maybe I should strongly agree. Amplify as opposed to listen. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say strongly agree on that one, actually. Assuming that all women have vaginas is just another way of perpetuating oppressive stereotypes. A stereotype isn't the right word, but the sentiment of it, I agree. Science views the universe as a matter to be used in much the same way as white men view women and minorities as objects to be exploited. I mean, it's not the way that I look at science, but I don't know, maybe other people do. To me, science is a tool. It's not something that's normative. It can be used to, like, do things, create things, used towards a goal, but it is only a means. Not, I think at least, not an end. Anyway. We should welcome those who want to come here if we want to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. So I'm assuming here is America. I mean, to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential, I don't think that's really about immigration. To be honest with you. It's like there's a lot of other things that need to go into that before we think about immigration, but like the role of like open borders and how, I mean, I guess yes. Like, but this one is just, I don't see the, like, I think these two things are not that related. So-called free markets are inherently coded to favor white men. I mean, because we exist in a world where there's white supremacy, yes. I guess inherently, like, if we were to take free markets out of this context and put it in, like, a Rousseauian, like, state of the savage man, or, like, what's his name? John Rawls is, like, original position, like a situation where, like, everyone like is a person and knows that they're a person, but doesn't know anything about this world and just knows, like, that they're a person, that other people are people. I don't know. I guess probably not then. But I guess, and so is that the meaning of inherently? I think free markets were invented by white men. I'm gonna say agree. Some, like, not fully, but I'm gonna say, like, somewhat agree. The conception that a real man is tough and daring should be replaced by the conception that a real man is caring and compassionate. I disagree. I think that there should be no conception about what a real man is. Do whatever the fuck you want. I want to say disagree on this, but I also, like, I think the sentiment of this, I kind of want to say, I'm going to disagree. I don't think we should be telling people what it is they need to do to be considered a man. Whatever you define as a man, do that for yourself. I'm just against, like, I'm not against gender. Like, I think that femininity and masculinity are things that people really enjoy, and we created those constructs for a reason. I think that they can be really oppressive, though, especially for in, like, both ways. But, like, I think there's elements of both that people enjoy incorporating into their identity. And instead, I think we should just reach a point where we don't really care about gender. It's not something that's important to us. And instead, we just do what we want. Like, maybe I want to wear a dress. Maybe I want to provide for people. Maybe I want to make money and provide for people. Like, whatever it is that you want to do it, but don't do it because you want to be a man or because you want to be a woman. Do it because it's what feels good to you and what makes sense to you and what it feels right to you. I'm just not really interested in like putting myself into a box, but figuring out what it is that I want to do, and maybe that means that I fit into the stereotype of what a woman is or what a man is, but I'm not really concerned about those boxes or those labels, and more so how the things that I do and how the things I incorporate into my identity make me feel, if that makes sense. So I don't think that the conception of a real man being tough and daring should be replaced by the conception that a real man is caring and compassionate, because you should just do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to be tough and daring, be tough and daring. If you want to be caring and compassionate, be caring and compassionate. Also, you can be both. Like, I think human beings we have a lot more range than gender allows for. You can be both of those things, and you can just be a human. I don't know. Anyway, as society as a whole gets more wealthy, wealth will eventually trickle down from rich to poor, even in a capitalist economy. No, that is not what we've seen. No human being can be free until every human being is free. Philosophically, I don't really understand. Like, I haven't seen that argument broken down and made to me, but like, personally, I feel chained. That doesn't feel like the right word. Personally, I feel like uncomfortable benefiting from a system where a lot of people are like exploited. So I guess I would say that. I'm gonna put somewhat agree, but like, if you're trying to make an argument that it is like you cannot like consider someone free if another person isn't, sorry, I don't really have like I haven't heard that argument being made. I don't really know how that would go, but anyone who is not a white male is in some sense oppressed in our society. In theory, yes. In practice, I don't know, because I don't know the life stories of every single non-white male, and some white men are oppressed. I'm gonna say strongly agree though, but I feel like probably, but maybe not is my answer. I believe that given the same socioeconomic conditions, all groups of people would have the same average IQ. Maybe not the same average, but I think that like we'd fall in a normal distribution like everything else. And I don't think that would, like, it wouldn't be that one group has a higher IQ than another. Like, white people are smarter than, or have a higher IQ than black people do. I don't think that would be true, given like justice and the basic structure of society and like the same socioeconomic conditions, yada yada yada. I also don't even like IQ. I don't even know is like a valid marker of intelligence. And like, given that an IQ test was invented like as out of a socioeconomic condition, out of a socioeconomic system, like, can it exist without that? Can it not be informed by that? I don't know. I'm gonna stay neutral on that one. Like, it's not. I think I'll put somewhat agree, because I feel like I understand the sentiment of it. If we're taking IQ to just mean intelligence, if we're taking average to mean on a normal distribution, then I agree. But if we're taking this literally as it is, I have some problems with it. Women and minorities cannot truly be themselves while they live in a society run by white men. True. We are all citizens of the world and should be allowed to live where we want to create a more just and equitable world. Yes, but in practicality, I don't know that that works fully. I wish I could put slide this somewhere in between. Somewhat agree and fully agree. The climate has always been changing. What we are going through now is just another natural cycle. Girl, no. Actually, I do have a story though about this. I was punching this finals club, which at my school is basically our equivalent of frats. So I guess I'm rushing this frat. And I was there with some friends, and I wasn't with them, but when this happened, but they told me about it after. Basically, this member of the club comes up to my two friends and asks them, "Do you believe in climate change?" And a lot of people in the clubs at these kinds of events will ask you questions that are a little bit weird to see what your personality is and see if you're funny or interesting or whatever. And so they think that this is a question as a joke. So they're like, "Oh no, we don't believe in climate change. What the fuck?" And the guy's like, "Yes, thank God, I finally found some people who don't believe in climate change." And he was being dead ass didn't believe in it. Was so excited to find out that there were other people who shared his sentiments. And I go to Harvard, guys. That's the crazy thing about this. These people are going to one of the most prestigious elite colleges in the entire world. That is crazy. And he was basically saying it's just a natural cycle of warming and cooling. We're not, climate change actually isn't real. I would love to believe that and feel happy and safe, but a welcoming immigration policy is a moral imperative, as all nations have a responsibility to protect those seeking refuge and opportunity. I would have to see an argument for this. I don't know. Me personally, if I was the nation, I would feel a responsibility to do that. Of course, balancing that with the responsibility that I have to my own citizens and the thinking of the allocation of scarce resources. But I don't know that I believe that all nations have it. I mean, if you can, you should. But I don't know. I'm going to say some would agree. It's complicated. It's nuanced. We have the most to learn from people who are the most oppressed. I think we have a lot to learn from people who are the most oppressed, but I'd like to think that everyone has something to say. So I'm putting some would agree. And last but not least, traditional gender roles are largely determined by natural evolution and or a higher power. Absolutely not. Oh my god. Okay, here are my results. I am 78.13% woke. I got the highest in social justice and challenging norms, and the lowest in fighting power. That's not good. Interesting. Well, there you have it. I am woke. It's good to be here. Okay.